Up until now, I've been telling you to think of these elements as containers, and they contain whatever is in between the opening and closing tags. Well, now I'm going to reverse gears a little bit, and I want to let you know that there are some elements in HTML that do not act as containers. They're called self-closing elements. I think a better name for them would be single tag elements, because the thing about these things is that it's only an opening tag. It's an element that consists of just a single opening tag, and because it doesn't contain any content, there's no need for a closing tag. Let me give you an example here. Put your cursor right after the end of the last paragraph, so after that last closing p tag, and then hit return, and let's add an HR element. So go ahead and type in HR and press tab. Now you can see Sublime Text didn't put in a closing tag here because it knows that HR elements are these self-closing tags. Now HR stands for horizontal rule, and what it does is it just puts a thin white line across your page. So let's go ahead and save our changes. Press Ctrl S and then Alt Tab over to the browser, and then we'll hit refresh here, the F5 button. And there you go. Now you can see there's our horizontal rule right there. And it makes sense for a horizontal rule to not be a container because all it is a thin line. So it's not as if you're going to be able to put any text or images or anything inside of a horizontal rule. It's just a little line. So it doesn't make sense for it to act like as a container for other elements or other content. So again, these are called self-closing elements. I don't like that name. I think they should be called single tag elements or non-container elements or something like that. Let me give you an example of another one, but before I do, I have to revisit something we talked about with how HTML handles white space. I touched on this in an earlier video, but I'm going to give you a more complete example right here. Put your cursor after that HR element, and then let's add a paragraph. So type in P and press tab, and then I'm going to hit return to split apart the opening and closing P tags, and I'm just going to type in some gibberish here really, so I'm just kind of hitting the keyboard. But what I want to do is put a whole bunch of spaces in here and return carriages. So I'm just kind of typing in junk to create some space and line breaks inside my paragraph. Now if I go ahead and save this and then switch back over to the browser and hit refresh here, you'll see that all of that white space isn't appearing. It's ignored by the browser. The browser will respect one single white space, which is good because it'll put a space in between your words within a paragraph, but it'll ignore anything more than one single white space, and that includes return carriages and tabs and whatnot. And the reason for this is that it allows us to type our HTML code with nice formatting, and we don't have to worry about our formatting coming through when the page is viewed in the browser. So for example, back here in our previous paragraph that we wrote, we wanted to break these two sentences up just to make our code look nice and clean, but we didn't necessarily want a line break to appear there. And that's why the browser ignores the extra white space. It's so that programmers can type nicely formatted code and not have that formatting come through when the page is viewed in the browser. Now the whole purpose for me to get on this track was to show you another self-closing element. So what I want to show you is, what if you wanted to force a line break inside your paragraph? How would you do that? So for example, right here I've got a line break in my paragraph. Well, if I wanted that line break to actually appear in the browser, I could use what's known as a BR element, and BR stands for break. Now, so I'm going to put my cursor right there underneath the first line in that paragraph, and I'm going to enter BR and press tab like that, and you can see that it's a self-closing element, and Sublime Text did not include the closing BR tag because it knows that it's a self-closing element and there's only a starting tag. I'm going to put another BR element right here. So press BR and then tab, and then let me put one more right below it like that. Just like that. So I'll go ahead and save these changes. Alt tab over to the browser and hit refresh, and now you can see that my line breaks are showing up. There's one line break here, and then there's the 2 line breaks that I put right there. So the moral to this lesson, this video, is that not every single element in HTML can behave as a container. We'll see a few more moving forward in the course too.